Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Yes, sorry, I was just finishing off getting ready because I didn't realise what the time was. I was sitting here and just getting ready to go. Yes, it's Sunday night and it's time for another live stream. Tonight we're going to talk about a number of things, actually. We're going to talk a little bit about this. We need to go full wide. Yes, the DJI Mini 5 and the controversy. We're going to talk about weight a little bit. For those who saw I put out my video and I couldn't help, let's just say having a few jabs in there as I did. However, I do want to talk seriously on this one and about what might be coming up from me in the future about this. We're also going to be talking about the RadioMaster TX15 because there's a lot of people who seem to be a bit confused. The rollout of the TX15 has been quite slow, but there are some reasons for this because there was a firmware update problem. Actually, well, a problem with the firmware that needed to be fixed before the radios went out. And the irony of this is the problem with the firmware happened in the version that was made after the version that we had for testing, because the radio, when we had it, had a firmware version where the issue doesn't exist, and there was a rebase of the firmware to get it ready for publishing, and basically it screwed up one function. We are going to talk about the SpeedyBee F5 because I have it here. This is the F405 V5. It came in this week. And we're going to be having a look at Ox32. We'll plug it in and see what it looks like. And we're also going to talk about the very strange trend which is hitting FPV at the moment from a few of the Chinese manufacturers. And I'll be honest, I don't get this one, but we are going to talk about it. Now, let's go back to the live chat to bring it up. I hope everyone here is well. I hope you all enjoyed the live stream on Thursday where we tore the Mini 5 Pro down. Yes, it's fine. It's not a problem. It was reassembled without an issue. For those who just want to see proof of that, I was actually flying it today. It's fine. Where's the overhead? There we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. There's basically very little evidence that I've been inside, although there is a couple of places. I did damage one of the stickers there, trying to get it off for the second video I will add, not the first video. Everything else went back on. Looking around the sides, the plastics. Oh, let me focus that. Shall I go to autofocus? Let's see what autofocus does. Ah, there we go. The slowest autofocus in the world, I will add. The sides are fine. Oh, I've not actually clipped that back on properly. There you go. Now I have. So you can see a little bit, but I'm not sure you'd notice that from the factory. Same as that side there. I tell you where you will notice, and this was an absolute pig. Getting this front area back in, oh my God. Oh my God, was that hard to get back in. You can see there is a little mark there on the plastic and that wasn't from the tear down. That was from me trying to get these front clips back in. My God, were they hard. But other than that, it's absolutely fine. Nearly dropped it there. No damage around the front. Other than that, it is perfecto. Fair play, you know, so it was pretty good. Oh, my cup of tea has arrived. It was very nice. Going everywhere, I may add. Oh, it's hot. I might have to put that on something. Thank you. It wouldn't be a live stream without a builder's cup of tea. And well, if you want to know what a real cup of tea looks like, for those who don't know who are not in the UK, that's the colour tea should be, right? I ain't talking about any of this huffy-duffy. I have that and a pallet of blocks, please. So that's that is hot. So yeah, the it's gone back together absolutely fine. It's 4 minutes of soak time on that cup of tea, I will add. I always soak for 4 minutes. I'm cutting down on the biscuits because I'm too fat. So, unfortunately, I can't have biscuits anymore because I'm too fat. There you go. So, that is the aircraft. It's fine. It's back together. I've been flying it today. It's fine. Yeah, there's really not a lot to say about that from the teardown perspective. It went absolutely brilliantly. Now, obviously, there is a lot of questions and talk about, and this is actually interesting, and I want to just touch on this. I had loads of people, and I missed an opportunity in the second video because of this, but I had loads of people saying, oh, so are the props the reason it's too heavy? And people are trying to blame a single item. People are saying things like, oh, is it because the battery's too heavy? Or is it because the props are too heavy? I didn't explain something very well in the teardown or in that other video, and that is this. This is not the Mini 4 Pro in a new dress. It is an entirely new aircraft. There is not a single item that is causing it to be too heavy. The sum of the components that DJI have chosen are what is causing it to be too heavy. Are the props on this heavier than they are on the Mini 4 Pro? Yes. Is the camera heavier? Yes. Is there other elements of the drone that are heavier? Yes. It's not that it's a Mini 4 with new props, therefore it's too heavy. It's an entirely new drone, so you cannot say things like, what is causing it? There is no item causing it. It is the sum of the total that is causing it. The question then becomes, what could be done to reduce it? Hence the speaker. Hence maybe talk around removing some plastic from the battery, which I'll talk about in a minute. But I just want people to understand that it's not the last drone that's made it with something that's made it too heavy. It's got a bigger camera. It's got different props, different motors. It's new, entirely new. With that said, yes, the props are heavier. I didn't weigh them in the video, and people were asking me about the props. And yes, the props are heavier because they do have, what's this, all this white powder on my scales? Yes, the props are heavier. There's the single prop, coming in at 2.54 grams. My understanding is the props on the Mini 4 are 0.9 of a gram each. So they'd be 1.8 grams plus screws, whereas this is 2.54. So yes, there is approximately 3.5 grams of additional weight in the drone. That's a fact as a result of the props, but that isn't the cause it's overweight. So people need to get away from this, what caused it, what didn't, etc, etc. Now, obviously, there is a lot of interest around what can we do to make it lighter. And I have decided I am making a video on this. It's already in progress. Yes, what I'm going to say is this. Let me just show you something. Why would these two be together? I can't imagine why you would want something like these two together. So if we don't burn the studio down, we will be taking a look at what we can do. Just to try and understand. With regards to this, I am just going to say now, no one should do what I'm about to do. No one should do what I'm about to do. And I don't mean now, but in that video. But what I will say is the cells are attached to this bottom end. This top end here is completely hollow. I'm intrigued of how much that amount of plastic there will weigh. if you take a notch out there, it's not a 10-gram label. If you take that notch, I'm not even sure that's a gram, if I'm honest. People underestimate how much a gram of plastic is. You know, you are talking, I was looking at like test cubes. You know, test cubes, these are like 6 or 7 grams of plastic in a test cube, but that is fairly solid. It's not going to be easy to get a couple of grams out of it, but we are going to have a play. But yeah, I think there's a bit in the battery. But the truth is, and here's where we have to be truthful, no one should really care about this in the end. Especially in the UK, we're fine. The truth is, we're fine. In the UK, we are migrating to the C label system. It comes from the factory with a C label. Don't worry. It's fine. There are quirks in countries where you have a country that says your drone must weigh no under 250 grams. There is the potential for an issue. That is where your country has an exact weight, there's an issue. But look, here's the truth. Police are not running round with sets of scales weighing drones. Unless they're going to go and grab the local drug dealer first and get him to weigh it, then it's probably going to be okay. And let's be honest, if they stick it on your local drug dealer's scales, it's going to come up probably at 300 grams because he's going to have at least 50 grams of extra weight showing on his scales compared to what they should be. But it's not common. Someone's just said that they have done it in Switzerland. That could be an issue. There is also the reality of, I suspect, I am highly suspicious that DJI are going to quietly fix this and they will all come in underweight. I have a feeling that DJI had built this all, they'd done all of their testing on pre-production and it was fine. And then they smashed them out and suddenly realised a bunch of them are overweight. I still don't really believe you will find one underweight. I don't understand what will cause it to be underweight, because you ain't taking out 3 grams worth of thermal paste. They're going to have to change something inside to, you know, that speaker is 1.8 grams. That's a physical item, is 1.8 grams. Variances on the plastic shell, 3 grams, I don't buy it. I'll be honest with you. I do not buy... I do not buy there is 3 grams of extra plastic. That's loads. That's the bit I don't buy. I think they will all be overweight. Because where is it saved? Things, you know, there are minute differences, but not 3... Again, 3 grams is quite a lot. It isn't, but it is in the grand scheme of things. So, I don't know. Look, it is possible someone's is. I'm not convinced. I'm leaning on that pretty much everyone will be 50, 51, 52. It's got aluminium screws, and look, I'm going to be honest here, you know, it is what it is. It's not that I blame even DJI. This crap happens. The truth is, when you are flying so close to the sun, you're going to get burnt sometimes. And the truth is, DJI have basically achieved the impossible. Take into account what they've done here. Let me show you guys something. There, where's it vanished to? Sorry. Let me show you something. This is what DJI has achieved. They have packed this into this. It is almost the impossible. Mavic 2 Pro, that is the last Mavic that I've bought because I love this drone. I still love this drone. Haven't flown it in a while, but here's the crazy thing. This in this. That's basically what it is. And it's incredible. No variable. No, okay. I get you. Yeah, look, Lord, no, there's a few differences, but come on. It's close enough for the comparison. No variable aperture. But in essence, they've packed this into this. In essence. I also do think that it's all complete and utter nonsense marketing, the 1-inch, and it didn't need to be done in the first place. I've started to see people now posting like they had the Mini 4 Pro and they've compared it to the Mini 4 5 Pro, 5 Pro, and they're not saying it's any better. Look, 1-inch makes a big difference. However, in camera terms, only in specific scenarios will you see the benefit from this camera. So, for instance, you should get better low light footage. But other than that, and even that is possibly compromised by the lens, honestly, there is going to be so little here. For most people, it will make no difference. Bigger sensors are better in low light, but anyone who uses cameras a lot will know that the difference isn't night and day. Anyone who went and bought their first full frame camera, you know, when you start going up into, you know, when we're talking sensors, you start talking about things like that. You know, when we talk about big sensors, that is a big sensor. Not 1-inch that we've got on this. And I'm not saying it's bad, but the benefit will be limited. Does the Mini 4 Pro battery fit the Mini 5? I believe so, yes. Lens will make the biggest difference. Glass will always make the biggest difference. And the compromise on a drone like this is the glass. It's always been the glass. Glass has always been thing. Now, it is C0 rated. Now, C0 is a bit complicated. It has to be certified, but it's self-certified. Someone there saying, given the fact that it's C0 rated from the manufacturer, it really feels like a nothing burger being pumped for content. No, look, it's not a nothing burger if your country's rule is 249 grams. If your country's rule is 249 grams, then you're screwed. You are screwed. Look, don't underplay this. DJI have fucked up, and it is going to hurt people in Canada, Singapore, and other countries that will weigh the drone. If I take the UK, today's rules must be below 249 grams. However, they are not going to enforce it, and we are migrating to a C rating label system. However, if your country's rules are 250 grams, then it's non-compliant. It's black and white. There's no in between here. It's black and white. But who is going to weigh your drone? Now, there are countries that this will happen. I've been told Singapore is an issue. Someone said Switzerland will. So this isn't a nothing bigger. It absolutely, in some places, will be a problem. It isn't in the UK. It's not in the US because it's not officially for sale anyway. Canada is a mixed bag, but as long as your drone's not going to get weighed, you'll be okay. Europe is fine, but there are areas where this could be a problem. There are, do not, it's not as simple as they said this, they did this. Now, I haven't got any of the other sub 250s here to weigh to test against others. Is it possible others would be over? Yeah, I don't know. Yes, UK rules is below 250 grams, so 249.9 or lower it needs to be. It's certified in Europe. So, okay, Europe is a bit complex. At the moment, this drone isn't on the Europe list yet because the list would need to be updated. But if it's certified, then it's certified. It's fine. If it's certified, it's fine. It's not your job to ensure your drone is compliant in the EU. It is the manufacturer's job. So you've got to take into account the difference. If the product is issued a C0 rating by the manufacturer and that is certified, then it is fine. You've got to take into account how this works with the owner slice. Example, UK today, Canada today, Canada not so much because they've got to be certified. But UK today, you must be sure that the drone weighs under that. Not the owner. The owner must be sure the drone's takeoff weight is 2499 to comply in C0, in that classification. But, so yeah, look. Lon, if we keep chirping about this, I wonder if the certification gets pulled. If it gets pulled, it gets pulled. That's DJI's problem. It's their fuck up. Let's not, don't say nothing just in case poor DJI gets screwed. If DJI have to reissue every single unit because it was wrong with a smaller battery, that's on them. I don't give a toss. That's their problem, not our problem. DJI's problem to solve is theirs. They're the ones who have got this from a certification perspective potentially wrong. But they haven't. Because the truth is, DJI have never said... Okay, DJI are being disingenuous, is what they are, but they are not lying. DJI are saying 249.9 plus minus 4 grams. So, from a C certification perspective, it's got it, it's there. So, look, that's the thing with it. I find it amusing. It's quite interesting. I tell you what, it's a nice drone. I've been flying it today. Everyone who purchased this drone in Europe should return it. No, you don't have to, because it's C0 certified. You're fine in Europe. Only the Americans are upset because they're not allowed to buy it. Now, I just quickly to show you, I did... Will it power up without a battery externally? Interesting. Not tried this. No, it won't. I did take it for some flights today. If we go to the desktop. Oh, boom. And I just want to show you a couple. Ooh. Oh, not the SD card. I want the internal storage. I just want to show you a couple of things from it. So, I did a couple of test flights today with it. And I have to say, the footage looks phenomenal. I have to say, in low light, it looks really good. I have to say. You know. It, this is Mini 5 Pro. Yeah, Tide was in. Let me... Not that one. I was just doing some over-the-water footage just to have a look. Looking at low light as well and looking at the detail. First flight, over water. First flight after teardown over water. Don't do that. But I have to say, and then there's some more cinematic stuff I was then doing. I was doing some moving around shots. Where are we? Something in ones. But I have to say, it looks very, very nice. I want to have a play with the stills and stuff like that. But, you know, in this light level, that's just a... I didn't do any smart shots or nothing like that. This was more just testing. And then it rained. Out the blue. Completely out the blue rained. And then that's pullback shots. It looks very nice. Yeah. And the wind had died down. My God, it was windy today. I was flying the Nazgul today. Where was I doing? That was a come down. Where's the... Yeah, I was just doing some nice shots. It's been a while since I've been playing with the cinematic stuff. I took a load of stuff I could put together. But yeah, overall, very nice. I just want to show you a still. There's a couple of stills. What's that one like? Yeah, that's pretty good. A couple of nice stills on it as well. Takes a nice still. Not bad at all, is what I can say. Did I try it in heavy wind? I can say, ain't bad at all for the size of the drone. I was also today testing the Hover Air. Now, I've got a Hover Air Pro Max here. They very kindly sent me one to review. And you guys might find this funny. Where's the footage I want to show you? I am actually, and I've got to say this, I am really impressed with the Hover Air for what it's intended for. Let me just say. And I just want to show you this because what I put it through today was funny. Where is it? Is it that one? Yeah. This is in the wind. So just to show you, it was really windy down the beach today. And I'll be honest, this thing did okay. It did all right. The follow me on it is okay. The follow me feature is reasonable. I was walking and testing it. Actually, that's not it, that one. It should be this one then. And I was walking, I was doing some tests with it. As like a follow me drone, it works quite decent. And then what we did is use it there as a walking and talking towards it. It's okay. It's okay. It's not shocking. 8K footage, I will add. But it was like really windy down there today. I haven't tried the X1 Pro. They sent me the Pro Max, so look, I can't comment on some of the older ones. As you can see, yeah, I was walking down the beach and it was following me for a bit. We were walking down to go flying. I was recording on the phone above to see what it was like. This is the first time my trousers were falling down. It's okay. Farsight HD. Yeah, I was somewhat impressed with it, if I'm honest. considering what it is, I was somewhat impressed. Was one last thing, was this the zoom out one? I was using the little, they got this little joystick. The Mini, that's the Mini 5 playing silly buggers. I've noticed the Mini 5 likes to connect and disconnect on USB if you got it plugged in. Whew, that was me landing it. So was it this one? Is this the zoom? And then I told it to do its pull out thing. You know. And it did that. Which it worked. It's alright. Always got to do the pull out. And I'll be honest, considering how windy it was, I was subtly impressed. What was this? I was messing around with it here, I was. Yeah, and it was, yeah, look, it's all right. It's okay. Is what I can say. So that's that. Today I was also flying the Nazgul F5 V3. Finally got it in the air. Finally been able to fly it. I can tell you now. Big video on that coming tomorrow, probably. Complete teardown. Some interesting stuff going on inside that aircraft. However, what a 5-inch that is. My God, is it stable. Even in incredibly windy conditions, with rock steady off, it was good. And I mean good. So, as an example, probably number 2 is the best. Just as some footage. This is without any stabilization. And I was just doing some tests, and I want to show you something in a minute. But it was windy. No stabilization on here. Bear in mind, you're going to see the odd jitter, right? But considering how windy it was, this aircraft is incredibly stable. Incredibly stable. Very well tuned, smooth as well. Now, what I do want to show you is this here. Video playback speed. How do I change playback speed? How do you slow down playback speed? 0.67. Let me slower. 0.5. This is recording at 100 frames a second. So we were able... Let's try and take it down again. Slower. 0.25. We want to go slower. This did crap me up in the footage. You'll see in a minute. We'll come around. Are you going to play or not? Or not? Why? Why is that so crap? Should we try it in Media Player? I don't use Media Player a lot. I want to show you guys this. So, how do you slow down in Media Player? I haven't done this for a long time. Playback speed. Ah, here we go. 0.25. So, watch this guy. He decided to get a little close. But my God, you could... 04 is so good. So much detail. You can literally see the bird colour of its wings. Let me zoom. It is incredible. Nope, that's not zoom. But yeah, he crapped me up. as I was saying there. There were loads of birds down the beach today. It was a bit of a pain. But look, you can even see the colour in the wing. Just stop it in the right place. Stop it in the right place and take... You got so much detail in 04. It's incredible. It really is just insane how much detail there is in 04. You know, this is a screenshot. It's crazy. Crazy how much detail there is in 04. It's, yeah, absolutely mad. Just what a system. And you're facing the sun. Yeah, it's just insane. I'm not even replaying that, Gareth. 04's... There is nothing that comes close. Nothing that comes close. There just isn't anything that comes close. Right, before we get into the main subjects, just a couple of things I want to mention. I'm not sure. I think I mentioned this on stream a few weeks ago with Caddx. But there is some info been posted on the Caddx Discord for anyone who is on the... let me just open it up. Basically, Sneaky FPV has been over to Caddx in China, and he shared that there's going to be a VRX. I've spoke about this already. I am going to say something a little bit controversial, though. And let me be clear once I've said it. It is not fact. It is not 100% you should thing on this. But look, let me just get to what was said. Let me just get to the latest when I find the post. Oh, I seem to have lost the post. That's weird. Let me get it on my Discord. Because it was posted on my Discord and shared across. Ah, here we go. So, Sneaky FPV has been over. Interesting. He has confirmed something as well that I suspected from the leaked footage. For those who watched my video where we looked at this Pontiac Protoss leaked footage, remember where I said the penetration looks really bad. However, the guy who was flying it had flown next to him whilst he was looking that way. So the craft was here while he's looking there. And I suspected that it didn't have 4 antennas. I have already said this. I think it's only got 2. And Sneaky has said the goggles come with Protoss kit are 2 patch antennas. Single in, single out VRX. No comments on future products can be shared yet. So that explains why when he was flying around that field, Thomas McCrudden, when he flew just to the side of himself, only the other side of the hedge, he lost signal. And it was almost lost. That will explain it. That will explain it. So, anyway, Sneaky FPV said he spent some time in Caddx HQ in Shenzhen this week. Very impressed with the professional Caddx. Protoss kit is in mass production. Announcement soon, within 2 weeks. Protoss kit will be very aggressive priced. Testing team will be flying a week through firmware updates, both drone and ascent light video system in the little while. Testing the kits was supplied but didn't have the goggle battery at the time, okay. The Ascent Lite ecosystem will include a standalone VRX and an Ascent Lite Mini VTX. I've spoke about this already. I did say there was going to be a VRX module a few weeks ago. Same board, similar board to what's in this drone, but a different one because the drone has its own board. So what we see in this drone is not going to be the VRX specifically. They've been told it's going to be sub 5 grams, yet to be confirmed. Looks close to a 20 by 20 board. Will release later. I said in my post about, I'll put my post up in a minute, which I said about this. There's also talk of GT Vision 2 coming. Now, I had said most of this on my Discord a while ago. On the 30th of the 8th, I'd posted about this. I'd had a brief contact with Caddx Andy and said there'll be a standalone VTX and VRX later. There is no module coming for the Goggles X. There is no plan for that. It ain't going to happen. Now, I am going to say something which I need to be crystal clear on. I have no evidence of this. This is entirely my personal belief based on the noises, and that is, I think Avatar is over. I think once this is in the market, I'm not saying in the next 6 months, by the way, I think within a year from now, Avatar is over. I personally believe that's the case. I think it's game over. I think Caddx are out with regards to Artisan. They are putting all of their development into this system. It isn't good enough to replace Avatar yet. It's definitely got some real nice, interesting features. I like the way it goes down to like black and white. I'm not sure how I feel about black and white, but it's not 4:3, but it's a center image. For those who hadn't seen the leaked footage, and it's not even leaked. I shouldn't use leaked. It's not leaked. Thomas McCudden. I don't know how to spell his name. I talked about it. I don't know if I can find it here. I might have to find it on my Discord and then share it. For those who hadn't seen, he posted a load of videos which were really good. Here we go. I've got one now. Here we go. So, no music. So it's Thomas McCrudden. He posted a bunch of videos, and the one I want to show you is the interesting one where he was flying around the farm. And the real interesting one is this, exactly this. So, here was my point, right? He's wearing the goggles. He is looking that way, straight up towards the gate. So just keep your perspective. Main building here, lower building here, hedgerow down the side here. He is looking straight that way. So if these goggles got patch antennas, probably quite a narrow field of view, straight up. Probably that is about as wide as it gets. Then he comes up. He comes around over the top of the... Oh, wasn't this one, was it? Where is it? Is it this part? Right, so notice this again. He's looking this way, straight towards us. And he goes round the back of himself. And it actually seems okay behind him. It actually seems pretty good behind him. But there is a point where he comes up and over the gate, behind the trees. Where is it? It's not there. Must be further in. See, this is that black and white behaviour. You see, I like the way it goes down to that 4x3. Might be this flight. So there you can see the goggles. They're basically the same as the goggles L. But there's a point now where he goes over and then he comes back on himself and it loses signal. It's like focus mode on DJI, but it's a bit different. I can't remember where the bit is where he does it. It's not that one. Might even be the first flight. No. It's hard to judge where it was in the footage. But there is a point where he shows it and it starts dropping off and he comes over the top, back round to himself, and it loses signal. Wasn't there. Here we go. So at this point, he is here, right? Here we are. He is here, right in that hedge there. And you'll see it. He comes around over the gate and he's back behind himself. There he is there. So very, very weird behavior. Very weird behavior. But look, I'm going to say it now. I think Caddx is over. They have. Avatar HD is over. They have re-released the firmware for Avatar this week. So for those who haven't seen, they have actually pushed out the firmware again for the Avatar HD system. So if we go down, firmware version 3843.13. So they have finally re-released that firmware. And as far as I'm aware, it's working fine. As far as I'm aware, it's pretty good. But I'll be honest, I think Avatar HD now is at end of life. But I'm going to say this. That doesn't mean you shouldn't buy it. I would still highly recommend Goggles X or the original goggles. I would buy enough equipment, at least, to keep yourself going. I wouldn't overbuy. It's not vanishing anytime soon. But my suspicion is this is going to be just stalled now. They won't fix focus mode. The app will never work properly. You'll never get an upgrade board for the Goggles X. And what they're going to try and do now is develop this system into being a replacement for Avatar in 1-2 years. That's my suspicion. So, you know, you heard it here first, folks. I could be wrong. Now, just catching up on the chat on that. We'll catch on the Mini 5 in a minute. Someone just said I don't need the newest stuff anyway. Stu is here somewhere, I think. Is that criminal here from Australia, I think? Let's have a look. Back lobe on high gain is always nice, yes. Just going down on the chat. Oh, we've had a couple of super chats. We'll come on to them in a second. Is it too much to ask they fix the current system? No, I don't think they can. It definitely needs some work. Currently, it's more entry. That's for sure. Yeah. Yeah, look, and there was always a risk with Avatar. Caddx do not own the chipset. Remember, the core IP is owned and controlled by Artisan. Caddx are buying those chipsets off the shelf. As a result of that, if Artisan decide that chipset is no longer in production, it's game over. Bearing in mind, that chipset was already something like 3 years old when Caddx started using it as well. It was already not current at that point. So, at some point, Avatar has to end because Caddx are not in control. And what this appears, like it or not, is this appears to be a move by Caddx to gain control. New system, they have told me it's completely custom in-house chipset. I don't know if I believe them. My suspicion is I don't. And we will find out. We will find out. We have people who will tell us. It makes sense they're starting from scratch because it's a long way off. And if it is an in-house chipset, at least they are in control. At least they have a place to start. How long the Vista stayed on the market series of Caddx VTX might return. Well, you got to take into account though, AVI. It's down to Artisan. Remember, DJI were the ones who decided to keep the Vista going. Entirely DJI. If DJI had pulled the chipset, it would have gone. But also take into account that chipset was still widely used in many, many other DJI products at the time, including all of their enterprise products. The move to S2 only happened this year. So, you know, Caddx are in a bit of a tight spot because they don't control the chipset. And here's the problem. If Artisan say, hey, we've got no market for this, but if you still want it, you can have it at 3 times the cost, Caddx are screwed. Do they pay 3 times the cost? Do they end the product? Again, they're not in control. The reason DJI has been so successful, HD0, is because they own their chipsets. If you control your own hardware, they're in control. Someone has said, so why didn't Caddx move to a new chip to manufacture with it? So why didn't Caddx use the Vista system as a baseline? They can't, it's DJI's. Caddx never made the Vista. DJI did. Caddx never manufactured the Vista. No one ever manufactured the Vista. It's DJI. The Vista Ear Unit Link is DJI's product. The only reason DJI never sold it is because it's never been FCC certified. Just remember, the Vista is basically illegal to use. Hate to say this, but just remember, the Vista isn't legal. Never has been. The reason DJI never sold it was because they couldn't get it past certification. And DJI can't be seen to sell a product that doesn't pass certification. So what did they do? Palm it off to some FPV retailers. Just remember, the Vista is not certified. Anyway. Never has been. It's been a quiet secret of FPV for many, many years. So, in theory, they could move to a new chip manufacturer with a newer chip. Absolutely. Caddx could. It would be a mistake. The only thing that does somewhat make sense is if they could Gears make something based around massive commodity chipset. You have to take into account the artisan chipset is so specialized, they have to go to artisan. Caddx could make something based on more generic, off-the-shelf smartphone, Wi-Fi, maybe even 4G hardware. Someone just said, IPC sounds better every release of DJI. Nah, sorry. OpenIPC is still not a... It's not an FPV system. I'm sorry, I still say it. I still not have flown OpenIPC in any way that I can class as an FPV system. It is still stuttery. It is still not at the level of the minimum baseline for an FPV system. It could, but it's still not there yet. Until someone figures out why it's stuttering and juddering all over the place, it's still not there, you know. I need an NDAA certified VTX and camera. The only one I am aware of is HD0. HD0 is the only one I know of, well, or Doodle Labs, but that's not really a product. Sounds better, not best. HD0 has an NDAA certified VTX. Yes. Then if you go to divimath.com, they released this a few weeks ago. So DiviMath now have NDAA compliant goggles and NDAA compliant VTX. Don't get me wrong, you're gonna pay for them. But they do have these available now. Just catching up. Ian, around a year ago, so let me just finish Caddx. So, look, that's where we're at with Caddx. We're waiting on the Protoss. I'll buy one when it comes out, because I won't be getting a review sample, that's for sure. I'll buy one when it comes out, and then we'll understand a lot more. As I've said, Avatar, new firmware out, which was the old firmware. And I think we're now at the end of Avatar, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't buy it. That doesn't mean right now I'm still more than comfortable to recommend it the same way I always have. So there. Okay, someone said, Ian, around a year ago you posted an FTX crawler. It is, it's next to me there. I was fitting my Caddx gimbal to it this week. I haven't driven it a lot, but I am going to get it back out in the next couple of weeks. There will be a video coming on it. Vologex, and then I'll get onto the 2 super chats. I know DJI's hard limit is based on packet timings, but is it in the hardware or something DJI can put a stop in? DJI software. DJI, it's just a setting DJI have somewhere. As for why, because they can. As for what limit, I think it's pretty arbitrary. DJI doesn't care how far you can fly. They, in the sense of, they don't want you flying super long range with their product. It's that simple. They've given you 23.4 kilometers and you will be grateful. And if you're not grateful, tough crap. That's the attitude. Do you want all of this spangling image quality? Yes. Well, you will not fly any more than 23.4 kilometers or maybe 30 kilometers with a Vista, because we probably forgot to put the number in properly. So, okay, I need to catch up on 2 super chats. Met any hot new single guys recently? Yeah. Do you think the new Caddx FPV system will ever have a good image? And if it can run in the 1 gigahertz range, or does the frequency not matter much as a workaround? So, look, take into account some of Caddx's wording is marketing BS. So they've said the system can work 1.5 to 6 gigahertz, I think they've said. What that sounds like is they're using a RF SDR front-end chip that has that bandwidth. That doesn't mean they will ever release a product that does it. Doesn't mean the system will be able to arbitrarily move across that range. It just means the baseband is capable of working in those frequencies. Could they make a VTX that does it? Yes. Let's be realistic here. What market wants VTXs like that? Are Caddx catering for that? As for, do I think we'll ever have good image? Look, we don't know what the new system is capable of. If they are baking their own ASIC, it's hard. It's really hard. What will be interesting, and this is the stuff we have no idea about, right? Okay, is it two-way transmission, single-way transmission? Is it based on traditional encoding techniques? It does appear so. Or is it something more like HD0, joint source channel coding? Is it something else? I've already heard the bandwidth is 20 megahertz maximum. So that's the carrier bandwidth. Bitrate in all of the videos looks tiny. All of the bitrate in the videos looks really low. You know, I've seen nothing over 15 megabits a second. It looks a very slimmed down, lightweight link. It absolutely could be an off-the-shelf chipset with Wi-Fi hardware. It could be an off-the... I don't think it will be, just to be clear, because they've said the 1.5 to 6 gigahertz, which implies there's a much more bigger RF front end. Caddx may have forked out and built their own system. What will be difficult for them is this stuff is really, really hard. And when I say really, really hard, really, really hard. And it, you know, that isn't 5 years behind DJI. That's 10 years behind DJI. It's not. Testers say single in, single out, which would imply it's a two-way link, one antenna in, one antenna out. Is it two can both receive and transmit? Or is it one antenna in, one antenna out fixed? There's loads of stuff that we've got a lot to understand about it. Can they make it into a viable system? Yes, HD0 is a viable system. HD0 doesn't remotely come near DJI on image quality. HD0 don't even have an airside DVR. Let's just remember that. There is no HD0 VTX with a DVR. So, you know, there's a market. But they are also in a bit of a sticky position because anything they release will always be compared to what they had before. So, you know, could Caddx drop a product that is worse and stay worse than Avatar, but be their own? Yeah. That's the reality. Yeah, that could happen. So, yeah. Dane and Raven, thank you for the super chats. Incredible, my friends. Caddx needs some CPC venture capital money. Yeah, they may have had it. We don't know. I don't like it as much as the Avatar system. Yeah, look, Stu's flown it. I haven't, so I can't comment on it. I'll fly it when it comes out. I'm not expecting it to be Avatar. If they are baking their own, they're going to have a lot of work. But let's see where they go. You know? Okay. Right. Something I want to talk about as well is DJI. There are not rumors, but there is talk of DJI coming back into stock in the next 30 days. Now, I believe some people have some product entering the US. However, I'm not sure if it will happen. And even if it does happen, you shouldn't think that DJI's problem is over. And in fact, I'm going to go as far as to say everything I'm hearing is it is end game for DJI. So much so, with the current administration and how punchy the FCC is getting, there is even talk of a ban on not just new product, but existing certified product as well. Now, what this actually means for you, I don't know. With how politicized everything is, even flying a DJI product could get you locked up, bundled into a van to Mexico. It is uncharted waters. But the noise is that it is very, very, very end game coming. And it might not even just be December. It could even happen before December. The December ban is something there, but there are real whispers that the hammer is about to fall. And I don't really know what to say, because it's bad. But just look what's going on. Current administration pending. Do you think the current administration is leaving anytime soon? Elections? Sorry, that's the thing of the past. That's sorry, that's something you used to do. You won't be doing that anymore. Sorry, but yeah. No. That's how the world used to be. You know, you're in a different reality now. Do I think the DJI ban nonsense will spread to other countries? Well, this is actually an incredibly interesting question. In the past, yes. In the past, when there was a normal world where everyone worked together, I think if DJI had got banned, that would have absolutely spread. However, I actually think because of the way the current administration is behaving towards China, I actually think the rest of the world will ignore it. And that's the truth. If you'd have said a year ago, it would have just gone Australia, UK, spread everywhere. I actually think now everyone else will go, oh, okay. And I think it'll carry on. But it is complicated. It's complex now, and it's really not as simple as it once was. It's crazy is what it is. So look, I don't know what to say, but I am hearing very, very bad things. Now, just in case anything I have said might have upset Disney, ABC, or anyone else for that matter, or even anyone else in the administration, if my channel gets taken off air, you know what's happened. Okay? So just be aware. I think what is complex is this. If the DJI ban happens, if the DJI ban had happened 2 years ago, the general public and everyone else wouldn't have cared. If it happens now, it's politicized, and you carrying a DJI drone, genuinely, I'd be worried about your safety. You are in uncharted waters. A year and a half ago, no one would have cared. They wouldn't have known it's banned. No one cares. Now, this will become so different. I'm not sure it would even be safe to be around people with it. It's scary. So, let's see. Right. Well, they won't once it happens. DJI anyway. Yeah, well, I do. Right. The next thing we're going to talk about is this. So, this week, I finally got in the SpeedyBee F405 V5. So, I had to buy this. It wasn't sent to me by SpeedyBee. I ordered it in off AliExpress. Took about 2 weeks. It has arrived. We have the new flight controller, the F405 V5, which comes conformally coated, I will add. Has lots of I/O. Very nice indeed, I have to say. Not sure about the USB-C port. They have got it sort of midway. They've cut through the board so they can get the height of the stack down. So when you're talking stack height, you're able to get a little bit left. But let's be realistic here. It wasn't taking up that much space. But yes, so this is the flight controller. But the interesting thing is this, which is the new 55 amp ESC, which is running Ox32. So, what we're going to do is plug it in, and we're going to take a look at this, because I want to show you it. God, sorry, my voice went then. We also have this with it as well, which is SpeedyBee's basically short saver. So if anyone's got the Vi-Fly short saver, which I have a few of, I always keep one on the bench. This is my battered bench one. It's basically an equivalent of the Vi-Fly short saver. So you can plug your battery in. It'll tell you your battery voltage. You can turn it on and off, and you can set the current rating on it as well. So, yeah, quite interesting. SpeedyBee's equivalent. So, what we're going to do is power on. Let's go onto the desktop, and we're going to go to the Ox32 website, connect, and then we're going to connect to the ESC. So, this is Ox32. Now, I haven't really had much of a chance to play around with this. There is a big page of stuff. Current firmware version is 1.13. I don't know if that's the latest. We've got some options along the top. Motor type, direction and testing, ramp sound, firmware update. Let's click on firmware update and see what happens. Okay, so we're on the latest version. There's version 1.1, 1.2 and 1.13. There's also the ability to upgrade local as well. We have in the main settings window all of the usual stuff. So motor timing, PWM, Ramp power, soft ramp acceleration. All looks very familiar, this. Buzzer setting, startup beep volume, beacon signal volume. We'll have a go. Stall protection, low RPM. All of this stuff. We've then got motor direction and testing. So you've got your direction. I don't know if any of this was in beta flight. Considering this is something brand new, it's got an awful lot in it. Do you know what I mean? Ramp up sound. New. English or Chinese. We've got log, which shows us the log. Huh. Feels very familiar. Manual on the side. That opens up parameters. Manual, interesting. Not seen that before. Port utilization, contact. Okay. They didn't reply to my email last. And then privacy agreement. Okay, so let's have a listen. Information we collect. Device information including hardware model, operating system, device identifiers. Set features, system logs. So they're collecting data on you. Location data, if applicable, only with your permission. Location-based features. Okay. Usage data. Frequency, system logs, and previous periods. We do not collect personally identifiable information, such as your name, address, telephone number, unless you voluntarily provide it. Okay. Yeah. So, some questions have been, does it connect to BL Heli configurator? Well, that's something we need to have a look at. So if we go down, I've got the latest BL Heli. So look, let's disconnect on this a minute and close the page. We're going to power down and then power back on. So let's see what happens with BL Heli Suite. So, connect. Let's see what happens. FCC hack, not seen anything yet on the Mini 5. I need to look into it. Doesn't look like it wants to connect. So, it's saying it's not valid. I'm also intrigued, will the test configurator... I don't know if you... We can't tell for flashing because... verify BL Heli. So whatever they've changed, I don't know. That's an interesting. BL Heli S? No, it's a 32-bit ESC. let's power down, disconnect, reconnect. Let's just try AM32, just in case. No, we can't read in AM either. ESC configurator. Interesting option. Connect. No, it doesn't want to connect. Let's just try again. Yeah, we need to start looking into what this is what we need to do. I am highly suspicious, let's just say. Plugging it back in. Yeah, I'd have thought they'd have to make it directly that you couldn't connect as well. I'd be shocked if it was done in any other way. Yeah, it doesn't want to work. Ooh. Ooh. Hello. Wait a minute. What have we got here? Show log. Board S405 V. Okay. Yeah, read settings. Yeah, no, I just pressed read settings. I've just done read settings here. You can see it changing at the top. Failed reading ESC1234. No. It looks like the configurator is connected to the flight controller, but not the ESC. Yeah, it's connected to the flight controller. That's what that is. So, no. The only thing I wanted to check is this. Sequoia have the BL Heli test. So, they actually have the test configurator. Let's just check that. It feels awfully a lot of settings, right? For... Okay, is it BL36? This one here. This is the dodgy one, right? This is downloads, extract files. This is the dodgy one. So let's close this. Test activator. Let's extract files. Do that one. Oh, bollocks. Hate it when that happens. I just want to see what this does. There is an awful lot of settings in there for something new. So I'm just going to connect on this. This is the test one. I just want to see if the test does anything newer or different. You never know, do you? You just never know. The test activator one might have more opportunity. Let me just do that again. COM26. Why isn't that 115200? Yeah, it could be based on anything else. It's intriguing, is what I will say. Do you ever need a battery connected in order to connect to an ESC? Yes, you do. You always need a battery connected or power to connect to an ESC. It must be powered. Hence the reason I've got it powered on the bench. Okay, so anyway, very intriguing. Don't know what to make of it. Looks fairly polished. Lots of different settings. I am highly suspicious. Oh, yeah, there are a few AIOs that will. Yeah. I think the HD0 does AVI, if I'm right. Awfully suspicious. Can we download the bins for the MCU anyway? No, but we might be able to get them off it manually. Does it support bidirectional D-shot? I believe so, yes. I'm highly suspicious it's based on BLLE, if I'm honest. I'm highly suspicious it's BLLE 32 in a different dress, is what I'm suspicious of. How low does the PWM frequency go? 16. 48. If we, what's similar here? So what we got? Motor timing. I haven't flown it yet. Do the controls align with BLHeli? Yeah, I don't know. Look, break it. Look, it's similar. Auto telemetry interval. Not seeing that. Yeah, agreed. Avatar's a good thing. Look, I just find it weird because it's got so many settings for something that's meant to be new. Like, if I look at the ones that are new, Voltara, they have very basic limitations. You know, basic settings, basic features. I haven't dug into if the bootloader is locked. I'll have to connect it to STM32 and have a play. So, okay. That is that. Mad, I need an NDAA certified flight controller. Off the top of my head, the only one I know of is the Rotor Riot. I believe Rotor Riot make an NDAA certified flight controller. If I'm right, I'm sure they do. It's the only one I can think of off the top of my head. Also, would TBS is NDAA though? There's officially NDAA? I don't know if it is. I think TBS does. They got on Get FPV, have they? Here we go. Let's have a look. Okay. Lumia make an NDAA ESC. The Cube is obviously. Lumia make a flight controller. Well, it's not in stock. You can't have it. TBS Lucid. Ah, yeah, the Lucid. The Lucid is available NDAA. If someone actually is paying an engineer to work full time on ESC firmware, how long would it take them to get to BL Heli 32? I reckon 5 years. With testing, 5-6 years, I reckon it would take minimum to get to BL Heli 32. Cube Blue is still a thing. Yes, it is. But they replaced it with NDAA Cube Oranges. But yeah, TBS Lucid. NDAA. Oh yeah, and Brain FPV. The Radix, I believe, is NDAA. So, Cube Red, yes. I'm still waiting for my red to turn up. Okay, so I am highly suspicious on OX32. I'm going to say it now. I find it very hard to believe that is entirely new. If I'm suspicious, and if I'm honest, BL Heli 32 or AM 32. Being Chinese, AM maybe. Is it a rip-off of AM 32? That's a possibility. Oh, remote. No idea. TBS does TBS make? I don't know who does an NDAA remote. Here you go. TBS Tango 2 Pro is NDAA compliant. As is the Orca radio as well. Should have mentioned Orca. Orca's remote is NDAA compliant as well. So, there's a Tango 2 NDAA 289 or the Orca remote 119. Ask ChatGPT about OX32. I haven't got the latest version, so... Right. The next thing I want to quickly talk about is the TX15 from RadioMaster. Let me grab mine. Now, there is a bunch of bitching and whining on Facebook about the TX15, mostly around... I'm just going to put my bench down a bit. Mostly around how long it's taken to come out. Now, I have mentioned this before with RadioMaster products. It's even worse with this radio because it has been so incredibly popular. And I can promise you, I know how popular this has been. It has been so incredibly popular. Stock is difficult. Manufacturing is flat out. However, there was a delay in the firmware that resulted in it not quite getting out for a week or so. on top of the other delays. And the reason for that is to do with Edge TX. There was a problem in Edge TX on the TX15 where the SE and FF buttons functionality for a 3-position switch swap wasn't working. And if you don't know what this is, if I go onto mine, there is an option to replace both of these buttons, right, with 3-position switches. The PCB is wired to take 3-position switches, okay? However, there was a software bug that didn't allow you to configure them as 3-position switches. If I go on to mine has earlier firmware which works absolutely fine. So if I go into the hardware settings and we go down to switches, right, I can set SE and SF. Oh God, wait there. That is so bright. Let me adjust the brightness of the display. Back. This radio screen is so bright. Backlight. There you go. You can see now. Forward. So, if we go down to switches, I can set SE or SF, misdialed, to toggle 2 and 3 position. I can do it for both of these switches. Toggle 2, 3. Okay? Absolutely fine. Not an issue. Works as expected. Unfortunately, after I got my radio, the Edge TX team were rebasing the firmware ready for release. And it turns out this feature ended up breaking that functionality. And as a result of this, they've had to do another pull request and push, and RadioMaster are having to rebase the radio firmware to get it fixed. Now, the reason this is so complicated is the fact that this radio uses a version of Edge TX that isn't available yet. RadioMaster are currently using a customized RadioMaster version of Edge TX to support the H7. In the next major release, this radio will fall under public firmware and will remain under public firmware as before. However, today, the radio is shipping with a customized nightly build of the firmware, basically. You can nightly build it and it should be fine, but the reality is it's using a slightly customized version. And that is what has caused the problems. Now, obviously, there are a lot of people who want to get their hands on these radios. I'm incredibly lucky to have one. I know this. But guys, you can't bitch and moan about a popular product. We know a popular product is popular. I can tell you it is off the links. It is going to be an issue. Does it apply to the Boxer 2? No. The Boxer 2 only supports 2 position on the tops. So they're in stock in the UK. Yeah, stock is out there now. People can get this radio. But RadioMaster are trying to get them out as fast as they can, as far as I understand it. It's always the same with production. The initial boxes, it'll settle down. It'll get to you as soon as it can get to you. If you've ordered one, you will love it when it comes, I'm sure, but you're going to have to wait. I can't really say any more than that. You're going to have to wait. It is that simple. Someone said Google RadioMaster TX15 problems. The problem is that. That's the problem with the TX15. That's the big issue, and it's just held up production. Whenever anything is new, you have to take into account. I actually have a pre-production unit. The hardware is the same. but it's a pre-production unit. Ordered from AliExpress. Yeah. You know, popular products can get out of stock, unfortunately. That stuff is going to happen. There's not a lot we can do about it. That's, you know, I wish it didn't take quite so long for things to come through. Thanks, Ian, for the help. Yeah, I couldn't remember how to do the 6-position switches on the RadioMaster. The Edge TX have changed it slightly as well, which confused me. Nothing will ever beat the legibility of a black and white LCD. No, look, the box is a fantastic radio. I really need to fix mine. I really do need to fix mine. Right. The last subject I want to talk about is this new trend, which I don't quite understand, that is spreading among companies in FPV. And what I mean is this. It started with SpeedyBee, and this was the release of their Master 3X modular FPV drone. And it's this modular cage setup for the 03 or 04 ear unit. We're starting to see companies do this. So for instance, if we go back to SpeedyBee, you can see here they're talking about this modular setup that they're doing on a number of their drones, so you can swap over your ear unit. I don't really get this, if I'm honest. I can sort of see it, but I don't get it. You've also got it now from Beta FPV as well. We need modules in the US because we can't buy any more units. Yeah, and I do wonder if that's what's driving this. 100%. Beta FPV are doing it. They've called it the 04 ear unit bracket 2. Yeah, it's a new trend. I'm shocked Axis Flying didn't do it first, because they do completely crazy shit that no one asked for, usually. But look, you know, it's available on the new Pavo Pico 2. I just don't really get it, if I'm honest. Perhaps that's because I'm not in a country where you can't buy 04 ear units. I get it on a plane, just not a quad. Alongside this, you're starting to see some new stuff like this. Oh my god, music. More fully integrated boards from manufacturers. SpeedyBee showing this. Express ELRS on board. Bluetooth controlling. Quite interesting, but again, highly customized. Not going to fit every frame. I sort of get it. Look, perhaps I'm being a bit of a dinosaur on this and not really thinking about it. Gep RC as well has a new one. Do they? I've missed Gep. Gep RC, Stu says, has one too. Funny boards remind me of the stuff we had nearly a decade ago. Yeah. Oh, is it this? Oh, there we go. Oh, the Dark Star. Yeah, I did see the Dark Star advertised somewhere. Is it the Dark Star? Yeah, it looks like it. interesting. Yeah, look, and perhaps my problem is I just don't feel our systems are modular ready yet. I think if we wanted a modular one, I think it needs to get a lot better and a lot easier. Where I struggle with this is this. If you saw SpeedyBee, as an example, release a modular system and an entire fleet of drones, you know, Cinewoop, 1, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch, 5 inch, 6 inch, 7 inch, where it's all interchanged, like your battery system on your drill from Makita or them, I'd actually get it. But what you see is this half-arsed attempt at it. SpeedyBee have it on one of their frames as well. It feels half-arsed so far. That's my problem with it. It doesn't feel like they're building an ecosystem. Deliver an ecosystem, and you know what? I could get it. I could get it. But you need to deliver the ecosystem, because the problem today is you and I know this lot will make one product based on it and move on to the next one. SpeedyBee makes some great little frames, but my God, do they not last 5 minutes. SpeedyBee are constantly changing their frames. Constantly changing. So again, we need to see the longevity of this. If you're going to give us an ecosystem, that ecosystem needs to be around for the next 3 to 5 years. That's my problem with it, and that's what I don't get. Give me an ecosystem, don't limit me. Right, I just want to catch up. MediaMark FPV, thank you for the €4 in total. Set up for Ko-fi better donation option. Oh right, okay, I need to look at that. Yeah, like someone like Rosser. If Rosser did it, that would make sense. Rosser is absolutely the kind of guy to deliver an ecosystem based around it. Rosser's frames are changing every year, but here's the one thing with Rosser. He still makes available all of the parts, or you can get them cut by CNC drones. The fundamental difference with Rosser is you can go and get an arm off an AOS version 1. You can go and get a bottom plate off an AOS version 1. The fundamental difference is the availability of spares. The problem with SpeedyBee and others is once that frame's gone out of production, you're screwed. You don't get a spare again. Clover has everything you're talking about. Okay, so we're talking this. So it's a front end. So yeah, you're building it into car. Yeah. So here we go. We've got the quads. Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. Oh, wrong. I'm on the wrong screen. Sorry. I was on the wrong screen. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, someone's doing it. That makes sense. Yeah, Chris could do this really well. Chris could really do this well. To be fair. And I'm not saying this hasn't been done well, but Chris could do it very, very well. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, look, there you go. See, this makes sense. What doesn't make sense is what the Chinese lot are up to. Yeah, we need a better connection for power and everything on 04. The current connection is junk. Someone said, Chris said the first frame was the best frame you can buy. Yeah, Chris takes a lot of shit. Chris still makes some bloody good frames. AOS version 5 is a fantastic frame. I think probably with Chris at times has fallen into the trap of saying this is... No, I think people read into what he says at times as well. Chris has also said this is his vision of a frame and that vision can change. You know, if you look at the AOS version 4, you know, the big change, getting rid of the trusses were great, but it got hung up in trees. It isn't necessarily the case that it wasn't what Chris believed is the best frame. But from a user perspective, it would get hung up in trees or hung up on fencing or whatever it caught because of the trusses. So Chris went for a non-truss frame. There are, you know, sometimes there's compromises. Yeah, Chris makes a good product. Look, the AOS 5 version 5 is a great frame. If I'm lucky, I don't have to buy frames. You know, so's the Nazgul a great frame. Anti-fence purchase. Yeah, the AOS 5, the version 4, the truss models would hang up in a frame. Hang up on a tree branch or something when you crashed. Right, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's donated for the Super Chats. Thank you all for spending some time with me tonight. Look after yourselves, stay safe. Please do consider checking out the links to my Patreon as well as buy me a coffee. And we will be back same time, same place next week. Don't forget, if you're going to weigh things, you should use